here we go. So this is recording. And what is your name, by the way?
Joyce and Roy Schneck.
Joyce and Roy Schneck, S-C-H-N-E-K? Oh, I tried. It sounds German to me, but I could be wrong. I've got so much heritage from so many different countries I don't even know anymore. Cool. So you said Joyce? Is that right? All right, cool. Have you guys, or we'll talk to Joyce if you want to jump in, please, by all means. But Joyce, who have you decided to vote for?
Pretty much Trump all the way.
Trump all the way. So if you were to put yourself on a scale, and you know what we can do, guys, just so there's less street noise and it might be less noisy for you, if we just, and I can help you, Joyce, if you want, but I'll stand like literally right there, and yeah, then we're good. So, big diesel engine. If you were to put yourself on a scale like 0 to 100, and you're like how certain you are this is the right candidate for president, where would you put yourself? I'll start my timer.
At least 95%.
95%. Okay, that's still pretty high. Here, let me start. There we go. Now we got 5 minutes because we don't want it to get colder. And what would you say is putting you so high at 95%?
Well, I'm a Republican conservative, and we voted and we put people in and sent them to Washington, and they're still not getting results.
So it seems like results is the thing that you're saying. If I vote for this person, then I'm going to get results of some kind. And are you hoping for a specific result, or is it just any kind of different result?
Well, not stalemate in Washington like it is now. I want a conservative position that is forthcoming.
Right. And what would you say like is one issue that you think is conservative that will be addressed or succeed if this person gets into office?
Stand up for a Christian's rights.
Okay.
Instead of every other religion.
Well, let's talk about that. And what about Christian rights is that what you feel is being not addressed, or?
Well, I mean, a Christian gets no protection from anything. A Muslim, they bow down to. A Hindu, it doesn't matter anything but Christianity.
And what would you say is your best example of Christians not receiving protection?
Like overseas when they're chopping their heads off.
Yeah.
God fucking hell, you know, bitch!
Well, okay, that's not how I want to conduct a conversation, but all right. That is one way to, pardon?
Not the terminology we like to use.
I would prefer to go and talk to people, like, I'm still...
Basically, we need somebody that has control.
Control?
Willy-nilly, ready to make a decision on the right things to do. And Mr. Trump will put the kind of people in that will make decisions based on fact and get it done.
Okay, cool.
Main thing is we've got to get a hold of this debt.
Of the what?
The debt.
The debt is important to you. Okay,
Absolutely.
cool. All right, cool.
This country is well on its way down the tubes unless we do.
Okay.
There's no way to support all these liberal handout programs without tax money coming in.
Okay.
And the biggest problem is we're going to have so much of it just to service the debt, not reduce it, just service, pay the interest.
So what?
So we've already broken Social Security by borrowing from it and spending on liberal programs, where we have to suffer because we're getting close to the end.
Right.
And we're getting no interest whatsoever on our savings from our 401k
just if,
because the Fed and everything else.
So
get it on down the road.
So we'll get to the. I think you're almost about to tell. I try to. What I think a useful conversation would go like one topic at a time, because a lot of people will say. But I'm really interested in that Christian thing, and then if you still have time, I'd love to hear what you have to say about the debt. But I'm sorry, but jump in.
Social Security has been broken for 3 or 4 or 5 decades.
Right.
There's nothing more than government IOUs.
Do you also? Wow, it's. Well, hopefully we can finish this, but the Christian is there an example? You said there were examples, because I don't know actually that of Christians not receiving protection.
Overseas.
Overseas.
They're chopping their heads off.
So you're saying in another country, for example. Okay, so not here in the United States.
Here, I don't think we get the consideration either that we should.
So you feel like you're not getting consideration as a. Again, I always ask for examples because I'm always trying to explain. But what's an example
Not
that?
as much as,
Sure.
I mean, they give the Islams their Koran. They give them time to pray. They give them their rugs.
So you're saying that in Guantanamo Bay, since they give them the Quran and maybe special considerations for their religion, that Christians don't get that same consideration if they're locked up in the United States?
Well, in other countries.
Oh, okay. But what?
But our government doesn't stand up for the Christians.
This country was based on Christianity. I mean, look at the buildings in Washington D.C. Who's to say we are entrusted? In God we trust. It's in the Supreme Court. What's the Supreme Court? What has the Supreme Court done? Gone against all tenets of the Christian faith.
Sure.
And their recent.
Would you agree with that too? That
as far as abortion and same-sex marriage, it's not right.
Right. Would you agree with that though? That a Christian prisoner, let's say whether they're in one of our bases that's like in Guantanamo or here in the United States, that they are not being given the same. Let's say they ask for a Bible that they cannot get one, or
in our area. Our ministers take care of the jailers.
Oh, okay.
They take care of the Christian needs. But they are also attacking the tenets of the church about what we can say in the pulpits and what preachers can say and not say. That's going strictly against the tenets of the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and the Christian tenet.
Would you say it is fair to say, just so I'm clear, that if I'm a Christian, I'm not going to get locked up. I don't think I'm of sound mind, that as far as I know, but that I will be able to. If I say I would like a Bible, I want to be Christian, I will still have those same rights.
Here in the United States, you would still be able to.
And if I don't know who's in Guantanamo, but let's say there was a Christian who was locked up and he requested a Bible, do you think they would give him a Bible as well?
I think so. Because that's our American way. Freedom of religion goes for all faiths, but not at the cost of the basic Christianity of this country.
Cool.
Okay, that's where I'm coming from.
I understand.
We do not give up our rights for the others to get what should be their right also.
Great.
One-way street.
Okay. Guys, I think we had 5 minutes a while ago, probably 2 minutes ago, but you were a pleasure to talk to. I really appreciate it. I don't know, I was born in Richmond, Indiana, so I don't know if you know that. So I saw the Colts. I'm a big Colts fan.
We're from Scotland.
Oh, where's that?
Yeah, Indiana.
Up north Indiana. Great. There you go. Cool. Now I live in Tennessee, so that's why I was like. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much. I'm Ryan again. I remember it's Joyce and Roy. I was thinking Ronnie, which I knew was wrong, but cool. Thank you, folks. Okay, we'll have a safe trip back, okay? All right, bye-bye. You guys got time for a 5-minute interview? Who's got time? You got time for I'm an undecided, and I'm interviewing random people about who they're voting for and why. I'll keep it to 5 minutes.
Sheldon, you got it.
You're good at talking?
Yeah.
He's good at talking. All right, cool. So at random times, you're going to hear shouting, people shouting at one another. I know you don't believe that. I know you haven't seen any of that. But if you guys don't all have to do this, but if you stand over here, it's a little, it's ruined 2 of my interviews so far. So I know, cool. So cool. So what's your name, my man?
Sheldon Cap. Nice to meet you.
Sean, I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you. Sheldon.
Yes, sir.
Sheldon. Cool.
Sheldon.
Sheldon. And where are you from, Sheldon?
Louisville.
Louisville. Okay, I'm going to set the timer for 5. If you want to go longer than that, you can. But I want people to know so they're not like, dude, I got to go. I have to drive 4 hours away. And then,
no problem.
All right, cool.
Not going that far.
Start. There we go. All right, cool. Let me. I'm terrible with this stupid GoPro, but I think it's working okay. Cool. So, Sheldon, who have you decided on?
Donald Trump.
Okay, so if you were to put yourself on like a scale though, like 0 to 100, 100 being totally sure and 0 being not at all sure, where would you put yourself?
I'd say probably 95.
Okay, so that's still pretty high. And what would you say is got you to that level of 95% conviction?
Obviously, his experience as a businessman. I agree with his foreign policy. Majority of his domestic policy. I disagree with him on some issues. I mean, every candidate has their flaws, but for the most part, what I believe is best for America, his views line up with. So that kind of puts me at that 95%.
Cool. And so one of those seems to be the businessman thing. And then so help me out. Like, would you say that's like one of the main things? That's like, okay, he's a businessman. I know that's good for.
Yeah, I'm a hardcore capitalist. I'm involved in the technology industry, so I appreciate big business. I'm about competition, survival of the fittest, that type of thing. So yeah, I mean, I agree in his tax policies and things like that. So for the most part, that's a big part of my living. I make a living in the business world and the technology industry.
Cool.
So
and
his lies.
How convinced are you that he's a good businessman? The only reason I bring it up is because, like I said, I'm undecided, and I'll see.
Right. No, of course.
People will say no, he's not. Yes, he is.
Right. Yeah, of course. I mean, I think he's a pretty solid businessman. He's established. I mean, obviously, he started out with good opportunity, a decent sized loan, and has grown, past that. Now he's a successful billionaire. But just because he got a loan and more opportunity to begin with, doesn't mean he sat back and just took it. He could have had a nice, luxurious lifestyle, but built it up into a brand.
What would be like the defining characteristic of a good businessman from your point of view?
I don't know, opportunity. I mean, capitalism's about competition, but you're supposed to have progression and innovation through that competition. So it's about mutually beneficial type things. So the better your business does, the better the economy is, the better it is for the majority of people. Kind of Ronald Reagan's trickle economics.
Sure. Let's say I'm trying to decide, which is true, I'm trying to decide who to vote for, and imagine like I wasn't convinced that being a good businessman necessarily means that would be good for as a presidential candidate.
Right.
Like it doesn't translate necessarily. Would that? Do you think that's a fair premise, or do you think like you should?
I mean, it's only one aspect. I mean, obviously you've got a lot of domestic issues, you've got a lot of foreign issues. He isn't a politician. I don't think he makes excuses about that, but he does lack, sometimes refinement and certain things there. But I think that's kind of the beauty of who he is. I think once he gets a good team of advisors and things like that, you'll start to see more refinement when you're dealing diplomatically with different countries. But I think the fact that he's self-funded and he represents his viewpoints and he's quite straightforward about it is what kind of makes up for the separate part of him being a successful businessman.
Right. Is there something that I guess we got about a minute 53.
That's fine, take your time.
Is there anything, just so I understand your point of view too, is there anything he could do that would make you go, okay, I'm 95, but now I'm like 90 or 80? Like what?
It's difficult to say because being in the business world and a hardcore capitalist, there's none of the Democratic, nominees at this point or contenders appeal to me. I have issues with Cruz's campaign. Some of the lies and questionable things that have happened kind of periodically. There's been a nice trend there, and I think Rubio at this point just isn't as good of a candidate as Trump. So it'd be difficult for me to.
Are lies an important thing for you too? Or
yeah, I believe you need to have a nice, honest candidate. I understand mistakes happen and you're on the spot, but some of the campaign issues that Cruz has been having, starting with the Dr. Carson thing in Iowa, I believe, I think, and then going on now, he's trying to claim that Trump was involved in the mafia and stuff like that. It just seemed a little desperate.
Let's say, I'm not saying this is true, but if Trump made a claim that you later looked at and was like, oh, well, that's false, would that sway you?
Right. It would depend. If it's a huge, blatant lie, then, I would take it into consideration. But past that, not necessarily. I mean, if it's a small factual mistake that happens, I understand being up on the spot and going from there.
And I'm not saying this exists, but let's say you were like, oh, crap, there's 3, 4, 5.
Right.
Like, if that happened, would you go, okay, maybe I'm not a 95, I'm
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I like to think I'm a reasonable person. I like to take in everything, examine it, and then see where I end up. It would start if he established a trend of big lies, false information. You take it into consideration, but it's hard to say. It would all depend on what Cruz and Rubio feel on the same issues.
Cool. Sheldon, you were awesome. I seriously appreciate it, man.
Appreciate
and
time.
If you want to, I wish I was a big famous filmmaker. I'm not. I'm actually doing I hitchhike across. There we go. I finally did one under 5. The rest of them were like 6 and 7. But send me an email. That email's like for a project I'm doing now. But
perfect.
Yeah,
thanks,
cool.
Sir.
Thanks guys. Have a safe trip back.
Any information that swayed you one way or another?
I'm kind of here. Let me, because I don't want to have to edit all this